Hilarious. So yeah, my old boss teaches at NKU, and oh, we are live too. So welcome class. Today we have visitors from homecoming, and I know there's at least one. As she visited with that material, and she said she'll be back. Um, she also gave me the hat.
Military.
And is it a military college?
It looks like it.
Yeah. So, um, long story short, there are alumni visiting all your classes. Have you had another class visited? Okay, because it's homecoming.
Well, that and like there's supposed to be some type of coronation tonight too.
Okay. What does a coronation mean?
Um,
Like the king and the queen?
oh yeah.
I think that's what it's for. Okay.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh no.
And I don't know how early or late she will be, and I also don't know if I can simultaneously record on this one while showing the previous. It should have it paused right at the spot that we left off at, right? Did you watch it on? Okay.
The thing is, I haven't seen the girl who plays the daughter in anything else. But
Really?
yeah, like she doesn't look as good.
Okay. It looks like it does let you film while playing. So, yeah, I don't know if she had played anything else. All right. We were actually watching part of White Oleander, and it was a Oprah book from. I had to read it in my social work program in 2001. Yeah, it was a book, so that's why when I saw it was a movie, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to show this to the class." So we have a few signing on, and kind of same deal. Yeah, just the students. I let them know we have visitors, and
I don't know if my knucklehead family's coming back.
oh, really? They're like, we're done for the day. Can
Yeah,
you
we're
just?
done.
That's okay. It is almost 5 o'clock somewhere, so I get it. They're like, especially if they're from Ireland. It's 5 o'clock. In
Yeah.
Ireland. Did you know we have a student from Ireland now?
I kind of figured that students everywhere.
Do you feel comfortable introducing yourself? And I can introduce myself also first.
I'm Elijah Mason.
Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Mason.
From
Indiana.
Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
I am R. Johnson. Family and everybody at Central knew me as Ree. I graduated from Central in '91 in social work. I have done a lot of different things. When I was here, though, I volunteered. I didn't get work study or anything like that. So I volunteered in the athletic department. So I know a lot of the football players, basketball players, women's basketball players. I ran study tables and things like that. Um, so our connections stay strong when it comes to once you leave from here. And then one of my friends had said something about, you're obligated to come back and to speak to the other ones and get them going. And it gets to the point that doesn't feel like an obligation. You want to come back for homecoming and to help others. So I did an internship in Greene County at the detention center. I think it was Jan Smith. He played football at Ohio State, and he was the detention person down there. So I did an internship down there. Let's see, I left from Central, stayed in Dayton area, and worked at detention in Montgomery County. So I did that for a while, and then I switched over to juvenile probation. Got burnt out from that because, just coming out of college, you want to see them succeed. You want all of these things. And then I got burnt out. So I ended up moving down to Tennessee where my mom and dad were and started working at Saturn. So one of the things that we talked about is it doesn't matter what you're doing. In certain aspects, it does. You don't want a brain surgeon to just have a degree in social work. So, but in most cases, what places want to see is that you're able to start something and finish something. So I got my degree in social work, which, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, encompasses way more than sometimes people think. So I was a supervisor on the floor in production. I knew nothing about engineering, designing cars, but I knew how to interact with people, and that's what I was, a supervisor. And then I decided to get back in the field that I felt God wanted me in, and which I end up back in every time, and that's working with teenagers. Most of the time, it's teenagers. I'm able to connect with them, talk to them, fuss at them, and these types of things. And so did that in Tennessee for a while, then decided to get back into this field. I left from Tennessee, went back to Michigan. No, went back to Ohio. No, Michigan. I think I went back to Michigan. Worked at a group home, a residential facility. Left from there, went to Maryland, was a house mom at for basketball players, high school basketball players. And I worked at juvenile detention there, was a teacher. And left from there, went back to Tennessee. And I'd always said God would have to tell me to go back to Tennessee. My mother got sick. So I went back down there where my mom and dad were and did that for a while. Worked at a residential facility for young ladies. And I left from there and went back to Ohio. Stayed in Ohio, worked at a Youth Works program in Dayton, Montgomery County Youth Works program. And left from there, went back to Kalamazoo because my parents had moved up there and my mother needed to be, I needed to be there closer to them. So I went back to Kalamazoo, which is where I've been. I worked at a family health center and I was customer service and decided to come back to this field. So I ended up finding out about the Michigan Youth Challenge program, which is a 22-week program where kids can get their high school diplomas or their GEDs, and we kind of push for the high school diploma. They can do that in the 22 weeks. It's a quasi-military place. So some military, like I said, it's lightened up a little bit from what it used to be, even when I first started. But been working over there for 4 years. And then we also have another program, which is the Job Challenge program, which is where I'm now. And it's the kids that graduate from the program that they decide they want to get a certification in something. So we have drone offered, construction, EMT, restaurant management, what else? And it's a few others so they can get a certification in that. And they finish up the program, then they go on their merry way. Most of the time they usually get placed because they have their certifications. So, and it's a National Guard program. So I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs National Guard, and they don't have it in Ohio, but they do have them in Illinois, Indiana, Georgia, Hawaii. I'm thinking, you might want to go there and transfer. Hawaii, Texas, they have one in California, I think has 3, but they're anytime in Tennessee, actually, where I used to work at the kids' prison is now volunteer youth challenge program. So that's what I do. I did bring some keychains and a few hats if you want some and a brochure about it. So any specific questions that anyone has at this point in time? Do you have any questions?
Online or in person? Yeah, we'll see. Pop up.
Okay.
You have questions. You said you saw the pamphlet. You said, is that a military school?
It technically, yeah, you see how formal it is. And when I would work across the street, I wore the ACUs. I had the blouse on and the Johnson on one side and Michigan on the other. Yeah, all of that stuff. And then across the street, we have khaki pants and this shirt, and it's a little more laid back. We're able to talk more with the kids. Across the street at the Youth Challenge program, it is, PT-ing them. Well, when they first get there, they've been doing drugs, they've been drinking, staying up as late as they want. Well, they have to go to bed by 8:30. They have to be up by 5:30. They have PT at the beginning of the cycle. They cannot do it. So if we tell them knock out, front leaning rest position, which is start for push-ups, and then we tell them, knock out 5 push-ups. By the end of the cycle, it's no use in telling them that because they can knock out 50 and say, okay, what you got? So it's at that point, midway through, that you have to have built a relationship with them, and a rapport with them. So, but yes, it is. It's
So it's light before they go to bed sometimes in the summer.
Mhm.
It's still daylight.
Yes, it
That's what I
is.
was thinking.
Yes, it is.
30.
Okay.
We are in the process of reinstituting our application to the social work program. We kind of cut it back during COVID because
Mhm.
nothing was in person,
Mhm.
but they fill it out and answer some questions, and then talk with one of the full-time social work professors.
Mhm.
And you were asking like volunteer stuff, like, can I get into social work without volunteer stuff? Of course you can. And they usually just ask that because they want to see if there's something you did volunteer for that might have struck your interest. Like if it is working with kids, I've always worked with adolescents
Mhm.
also. Or if it is working with adults or folks in gerontology or something like that. So, do you know which area you want to go in?
I don't really know. It's like it's either between teenagers or kids, maybe adults. It's just like working in like customer service. Adults were like the first ones that kind of attitude with me.
Mhm.
So I kind of steered away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't want to go. Like, hey,
Mhm.
I just right here. I need to get somebody else to help me out here. But I don't know. I mean, it might change over time, but
Mm-hmm.
I just have more experience with
Mm-hmm.
it more than I should.
And you want to take advantage of the possible online offerings we do have maybe next semester or even next year, right? Because we do have a lot of classes online. It's just social work is not accredited to be online.
Mm.
So I told them if they designed their semester appropriately, you could do a whole semester from Indianapolis if you wanted to. For like the core, we have math and English and a couple of social work
I
classes.
took all that right
Right. We have a couple social work classes online too. I mean, obviously you see, I'm kind of flexible. You see the people that signed in up here. So I do like it in person better. That's why I always show up no matter what. And at your job, you will have to show up, even if it is like virtual counseling or something like that. So do you have any questions about the job specifically, or Central State experience?
Mhm.
Maybe your experience at Central State.
now. Not that I think of right now.
Did you always know about HBCUs? Yeah, I didn't either growing up. I knew nothing about them. I actually started off at Western Michigan University. I was there for 2 years and changed majors 2 times. I went in, everybody when I came out of high school was going into business. So I did that for a year, didn't like it. Then my mother was like, oh, if you go into medical technology, you'll always find a job. I got D's and F's. Like, okay, that's not it. So I went into education, changed to education, started out my 3rd year there, and it was decided that I needed to go away and grow up. And so my mother had a friend of hers whose daughter was going here. And so my mom got in touch with Reverend Tyrone Kreider, who was, I think, over admissions and stuff. And I ended up here at Central State. And even when I was here, like I said, I volunteered in the athletic department. So I still didn't have my bearings. So I was helping everybody else with their work and not doing mine. So my parents were like, okay, we're done paying for school. So I sat out a year, Coach Check, who Lori talked about. She still teaches up here.
Oh, really?
She can't get it out of her system. Yeah, she still teaches. You don't know Coach Check?
I don't think that I have met her.
You haven't met Coach Check?
No.
She is a really good person, but she was the women's basketball coach, and then she was the AD. But she stayed in touch with me, and she said, "Ree, the longer you stay out, the harder it's going to be to go back. So you need to get back in school." So I came back that winter semester, changed over to social work, got A's and B's my first quarter because we were on quarters, and that spring quarter when you guys, gosh, there's no more breezeway, but it used to be the breezeway. That's where everybody hangs out during the spring quarter. Everybody used to be there, skipping class and everything else. I got 4 A's in my social work classes, social welfare classes. So I realized that was what I enjoyed. And so, like I said, a lot of times people think that social worker means a little old lady. Didn't used to see very many men as a social
Right, you
worker.
still do.
But a lot of women with the little old haggly dresses, looking all homely and tired and everything else, and don't want to really help people. Again, I knew nothing about engineering as far as building cars, but I was able to interact with people. I had that basic skill and then the social work skills. Working in detention, and people always say, "How can you work with those kids?" It's not the kids. I expect them, they're chronological kids, they're chronological teenagers. You're an adult that is like when I was at Saturn, if we had a problem in production, we'd have to have them, okay, I need you to put this patch on the car until they can get it fixed. And I've had adults, and they were making, this was 94, 95, they were making 70, 80,000 a year, and tell me, "No, I don't have time to put that patch on, and I want my union rep." So then I was like, okay, I need to go back with chronological children, which I expect them to have attitudes and stuff, versus adult children. So that's how I've always ended up back with working with teenagers. And everybody can't do it. I couldn't work with seniors. I'm dealing with as I call them, my seniors, my mom and dad. And my mother has a lot of health challenges and recently diagnosed with dementia, late onset dementia, Alzheimer's with behavioral, and the behavioral stuff is there, and I'm like, Jesus, help me. So I stick with the kids, and but don't think that it's just sitting in an office, because it can be anything. Anything is really considered. Anytime you're working with people and interacting with them and helping them problem solve, it's social work. I have kids that will reach out to me from wherever I've been. I have some in Tennessee that still reach out to me on Facebook. I have some that have finished up the program, some that didn't finish the program and stay in touch with me. And they know I'm going to fuss at them, but I'm going to also direct them in the right way. But I have a lot of sayings, but one of them is, you can't want it more than they do. And I think starting out, that was hard for me. Because sometimes you see potential, or you see things in people that they don't see, just like in you. There's probably things that people see in you that you don't see yet. And so it's frustrating when you got this kid that has this potential. And I'm like, what are you thinking? Why would you do so and so and so and so when you, I don't know, ma'am. Okay. So never giving up on them, even with their bad choices, so you just have to broaden your scope and your view. And some questions had come through about the money. Mm-hmm. Social work and teaching are two fields that people should value more, but they don't. But if you are doing what your heart is passionate for, what drives you 95% of the time, you're enthused about it and everything, the money will come, the opportunities will come, as long as you're in your path of what you're supposed to be doing. You'll always be blessed.
I mentioned that we had you guys speaking and in this class, and I was going to also share the video of the previous class, so they get like the solid hour and a half. And Only because you're sitting here now. It's the first time I have ever seen this option. I kind of like.
Okay.
Concerned about how much you will make in the field of social work.
Mhm.
That's the first I've been hearing about this.
Because like one of my managers, her niece, she wanted to be a social worker, but her mom declined her going to school for it because she looked up how much they make. And she was
Mhm.
like, be a RN, be a nurse. And I'm just like, well, yeah, you don't. You don't get paid that much. But that's the whole point
Mm.
of it in some ways.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I went a whole year in medical technology. And if it's not in you, if that doesn't spark something in you, it's not going to matter. You'll be unhappy. So I could have stayed in that field and probably gotten to extra tutoring and this and that and got my grades up to C's maybe. But I would have been in a job that I really didn't like doing. Like I said, I've done different things. I was in customer service at the family health center in Kalamazoo, dealing with customer complaints and issues, things like that. Saturn, same thing in production. But I didn't like that. My passion is working with teenagers, seeing, and again, you have to remember that there are different stages. You know, some people are meant to plant the seeds, some people are meant to water, some people are meant to nourish it, and other people are there to see the end product. Whatever stage of that person's life that you come into, give and pour and do as much as you can, and eventually you'll know that they made it. There are times that I had one of my kids, I think this is what really burnt me out. I had one of my kids on probation and when I lived in Dayton. And little Carlos had his father was in prison. I think the father's brothers were in and out of prison. He had an older brother. He had there were a set of twin brothers, and Carlos, he was the baby. They had all been a part of the system. And Carlos, at the time that they had just started doing computers, but everything was written out. He had probably 3 or 4 pages of charges, and there's like 20 charges on a page. So the date, the time of the incident, what it was, burglary, breaking and entering, truancy, whatever. He had like 3 pages. And this last time he was skipping school, broke into a house, and was smoking weed in the house. And so I had to make the decision to go ahead and revoke one of his suspended commitments, because what the juvenile justice system does, and that's a good job too. What the juvenile justice system does is
Come on in.
hello.
Hello.
Hello. What the juvenile justice system does is they say, okay, don't do that again. All right, don't do that again. Well, see, now you got this kid that could have ended up shot in this person's house, when if he had the consequences from day one or maybe day two, he probably wouldn't have gotten to that point. But I got to that broke my heart when I had to revoke one of his suspended commitments and have him sent away for I think he got a year and a half, and he was only 15. So again, you can't want it more than they do, and you just have to. There's always jobs in that field. Like I said, I still have people that I talk to in Montgomery County. Juvenile detention is always hiring, always. It's not so easy to get in probation, but I think I was in detention for maybe a year and a half, and they had some openings in probation, juvenile probation. But can always get a job there. And she was like, make sure you tell them they can apply. Yeah, Montgomery County Juvenile Court, juvenile detention. If you need a job, and that'll give you an idea. And like I said, I did my internship in Greene County Juvenile Detention. So just kind of see what you think you might be interested in.
Did you all want to introduce yourselves? We're having speakers from alums come back and speak for homecoming. So
I'm Foxy. Nice to meet you. I'm Renee.
Renee,
Janae.
Janae, and Foxy. Okay. I'm Ari, or everybody well, not now because nobody's here now. But back in the day, a long time ago, and some of my knucklehead, we just call each other fam. Everybody knew me as Ree. I volunteered in the athletic department, so I know a lot of the football players, basketball players, women's basketball, volleyball. Trona Logan was a really good friend of mine, Coach Trona. She passed of ALS, but she graduated from Central and she played at Dunbar basketball. So just answering questions about social work. What do you think you want to go into, Janae?
Well, I wanted to work with kids, but I wanted to be a social worker that the one that help find kids. You know what I'm saying? Help with missing kids. So it's kind of like putting criminal justice and social work together.
Okay.
So not
I
taking
don't
the
know
kids.
exactly what you would call it though.
Maybe forensic social work.
That's what. Yeah.
It's probably
I did a
forensic.
paper on that. Yeah, I did forensic social work.
Okay. And what about you?
Well, at first I thought I wanted to do social work, but I don't like the way the system, I feel like they feel like a lot of kids. So I decided to change my mind. I want to be a therapist. But my advisors told me how you can do a lot with social work degree and stuff. So
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Be
a lot of times,
therapist with-
yeah, it's a broad scope. It doesn't just stop at sitting behind a desk, finding a placement for kids that are, it's not just that.
yeah.
It's a lot of different things that you can do anytime you're interacting and working with people and helping them to come to their own resolution about things or their own final result or final answer. I've told them, I worked at Saturn in production as a supervisor on the floor. I didn't have an engineering degree, but I had people skills. So you take what you have and what you have a passion for. So you're talking about the system it's horrible. And that's what I was just talking about, the one young man when you guys came in. It's horrible. He had all these charges and we keep tapping him on the hand. And then we send him away for 1.5 years to kids' prison. Maybe it's meant for you to get in there and change some of that.
Sometimes they need one.
Yep.
I don't know. I just don't like how the system is just because of my own personal experience. So it's I don't want to be a part of that.
Martin, you're interrupting.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
These are some of my fam that I was telling you about. They're very intelligent. I'm sure you couldn't tell that when they walked in the door.
Hello, everybody.
We'll put them on the spot.
Let's put them on the spot again. They were roommates in college
Yeah, 30 years ago.
30 years ago, and still, when we come back for homecoming, they gotta be either suite mates or roommates or something.
You know Terrell Jones?
Wait, y'all staying on campus?
No, at hotels.
Oh.
They did.
Just a few miles away,
Yeah,
though.
just-
Yeah, we're just a few miles away.
No.
Yeah, we should stay in this dorm called Broadus.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's
That was
not
here?
even.
Oh, it was here.
Okay.
It's no longer here now.
They get
As soon as you
turned
come
down.
in Circle Drive up there at the front, it was Broadus Hall.
Oh, so they tore them all down?
Yes.
Why would
I
they
know
do
it's
that?
like your name.
As
Football dorm?
far as
Yeah.
tearing Broadus down, I would be fine with that, but not the
Right.
breezeway. That's just a,
See,
Right.
I just talked
you
about
know,
the breezeway.
that's historic. That's historic.
'Cause I feel like we never tear anything down. We usually try to fix.
Oh my
the old
gosh, no,
stuff.
they tore Broadus down.
Yeah.
Gosh, okay.
Is Lane's gone?
I know, we on Kansas.
Yeah, you guys are on camera now. You getting busted texting your friends
Should've
and
came to
everything.
class.
Yeah, they'll be like, stop texting. No, any questions online?
Any questions from them? They both are DC people and one's in.
Or are you
Vegas.
guys in Washington, DC?
Yes.
So are you
Y'all live in Washington?
Born and raised.
close to each other still then?
Actually, 10 minutes away from.
Really?
Oh my
So
god.
for like 30 years now.
Yeah.
It feels like 1 year.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't get old.
Right.
It doesn't get up. It doesn't get up.
It's like it doesn't age,
Yeah.
We are.
And then are your families there too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that part. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
And never knew each other as far as high school, anything. Just connected here and just, been tight as, ever since. So,
Did they place you as roommates because they knew you're both from the same?
Well, no, Mosley places this roommates because he was shy.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
Mosley said, "Man, you need to go to the butchie room." He like, "What's butchie?" So when we clicked, we just clicked.
yeah. So,
Roommates ever since.
yeah, so our freshman year, we had separate roommates that the coaches give you.
Mhm.
And then after people were transferring or just leaving or whatever, and like you said, our quarterback, Henderson Mosley, said you guys need to connect. And that was 1989 after that,
Okay.
that roommate year. And
Then
89,
which-
what were you guys doing in 1989?
They weren't even born. Oh my
I'm
God.
I'm joking.
Most students don't remember 9/11. That's what
Oh
shocked
my
me.
God.
Like they don't.
I
I was part of that now. I was in Pentagon.
Okay.
He was there. Yeah, scary.
Dang.
He was in the
Did you
basement.
see a plane, or is it like
I was in
the?
mezzanine level, which is the basement. And by the time we evacuated the building, that side was already in smoke.
Because I always ask about those conspiracy theories. They're like, there was no plane; it was just bombs. And
I truly believe it was probably a bomb because I like
really, so there was no
I
plane.
just feel like with all this, I never
Yeah.
seen people on the news and say a plane flew over the highway,
Right.
and the highway is always cars.
Everybody would see it. That's what
No
I'm.
one saw a plane. Now they saw the plane hit the 14th Street Bridge.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
But no one said they saw a shadow of a plane over the highway hit the.
That's so okay. Because I haven't ever talked to somebody who's actually.
And it wasn't a big plane. What that could have been? It wasn't a big plane.
So it was scary about him and the Pentagon, how it hit. I had a story that was even more scary because my wife was on a flight that morning, 9/11, going to Dallas. So, and it was the same airline.
And they grounded the flight.
And they grounded the flight where she was going to Dallas, ended up in Tennessee for a whole week. And she had to catch the bus back. So, and this is the reason why I work in my agency I work for now, CIA. Because once 9/11, yes ma'am.
Mhm.
That's all we can tell you. Can't tell you no more. Top flight security.
I'm about to say y'all really is though.
Yeah, but that's the reason, because once 9/11 hit, they started hiring. I know a couple people that went. He actually was the first one that was interviewing over there. And then
I should have went, but
he got the job,
I was
but
going for the money.
yeah.
Right.
Chasing the money.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah. But then I came on maybe like a year later and just stayed the course, and it's been great, you know.
Mhm.
As far as like supervising people, I supervise like a staff of 50 now, so it's pretty good.
Social work.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah,
he's
there we go,
banking.
social work.
Yeah.
You know, they're kids too.
Because I
They're
was.
grown
Oh
kids.
my God. I just talked about that.
I was in grad school during 9/11. We shut down, like no classes, no nothing. And I had lived in El Salvador and Nicaragua. So I'd done some overseas work. And now more recently, the stuff with that pipeline that blew up, and then now lack of heating oil for Russia for Germany from Russia. That's that,
Yeah.
modern day events are they're just curious to me. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's interesting, working where I work, far as managing the funds
Mhm.
for a lot of projects. I tell her stories and people's stories. I can talk about now how I drive around. I used to drive around places with millions of dollars
Mhm.
in my car, and if somebody robbed me,
How big of a suitcase would that have been then?
so $1 million can fit in actually a big
Okay.
shoebox.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
But they had to be hundreds then, not
Yeah, oh, they was all
twenties.
hundreds. Oh, yeah, no problem. It was all hundreds.
Not,
Right.
not single.
Big shoebox, $1 million can
Right.
fit in there.
Right.
And I went over to places where it was more than $1 million of transport money over. So
Mhm.
very, James Bondish.
Mhm.
Heard of that in young people, but
No.
it's really real. And like I was just telling people earlier,
Oh, we apologize.
but just like I was telling people earlier, if I can get a job there, you can get a job there. We just got to stay the course.
That's crazy, because I do want to be a detective.
You got to finish the
Here we go.
degree. Yeah, you got to
Got it,
finish the
yep.
So you
degree.
did all that with a social work degree.
I have an accounting degree, but if you have a social worker degree, you can get into my agency
Mhm.
Okay,
and you
'cause
can move
I
around.
was
If you
on a
don't,
minor in criminal justice, just like that could be when I
Mhm.
back up.
yeah,
And
So I
don't get
have
in
2
trouble.
degrees.
Don't get in
you
trouble.
can't get in trouble.
I know.
That's right.
For real.
Uh-oh, she scratched her
Because
head.
seriously, I literally
Yeah,
just
don't
a
get
couple
in
months ago, I had to take a polygraph for my reinvestigation.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm
Oh, you
literally,
guys to go poly.
And he's
Oh, yeah.
nervous
I'm sitting
anyways.
there-
Tell him the
I'm
truth.
sitting there
He's
locked up.
nervous.
yes, no, they got a big old thing on your arm,
Right.
and it hurts.
You were probably
You know,
sweating
your
and
arm
everything
is
else.
done. You know I'm sweating. Sweating. but you just tell them the truth, and it's but best decision I ever made,
Mm.
because I used to work for Marriott Corporation.
Mhm.
I thought I had it good there. 9/11 hit, and it's just stuff just started going down. But once I went to the CIA, it's been good. But any major social work,
Mhm.
business,
Mhm.
physical education, you got training, they got personal trainers, because,
Mhm.
mental health is big there.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about my job, they want you to work out, exercise
Oh,
3 hours a week, and you don't have to worry about doing it after work. You can do it whatever time. You
In
can
the
do
middle
it
of the job.
You can do it in the middle of the job.
They got showers and everything.
Everything. They even
Nice.
spoiled us down. We got this big old gym that they built like a
I'm
Gold's.
jealous.
You guys got Gold's gym around here? Is it Gold's? Or
Yeah.
whatever these
Yeah,
big
yeah,
gyms
yeah.
are.
Yep.
Whatever fitness gym. We got this huge, where they even got soap for you. Soap and shampoo.
Really? 'Cause we're building one. We are building one. but
Okay.
That's what I missed at Miami. I could run indoors on my lunch break,
Yes.
shower, and just go right back to class. We're building one due in like a year and a half.
Here for Central.
Yes. So this
Oh.
president is putting up.
That is very good.
We don't have one for both students and employees, but
Right.
NKU just built one. I worked there 1 year. Miami had one. I was there 2 years, and I
Yeah.
miss it. So I'm like, this would be awesome.
It's amazing in between time as far as working out, and you come out, you feeling fresh.
Yeah.
Energized, and all about trying to get your job done. So
Mhm. It's self care. We preach the
there you
self
go.
care
There
here.
you
See,
go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
did you all have any questions? I know nowadays you guys have more distractions than ever before.
Oh my
and things
gosh,
are
I know.
more interesting on phones, computers, and laptops. But you got live graduates here that did the deal, and they probably had to write their papers like I did back in the day. We didn't have email, we didn't have texting, we
Didn't have those things. Computers had just come out and they were in the library.
black and green screens.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Black and green screen computers in the
Yes.
library.
Yes.
And
We
it-
even still wrote papers.
Was it challenging?
Was it challenging?
I quit
Yeah.
a few times. And then
Yeah,
I
it
finished.
was, but that was how we grew up though. So we always knew how to write papers and things like that.
So did y'all get y'all got your masters, like the high
Bachelor's.
Oh, bachelor's?
Bachelor's degree.
So I'm just wondering, 'cause, like, I know it's hard for us being broke college students. I know y'all struggle.
We had each other.
Mhm.
That's one of the reasons when I told them I was speaking, I said, why don't you guys come in? This is what family does.
Mhm.
I'm closer to probably my group here than I am to some of my own family
Y'all are
members.
all like college friends?
yes.
Yep. We be,
Oh,
oh my.
And before 1999, you didn't need a master's degree. Kind of after 1999,
Yeah.
workplace is forcing that master's degree, which kind of stunk. So
And I should go back and get my master's. I just
you
haven't.
don't have to.
Nope, I don't have it.
But you don't have to. You know
No.
what I mean? Like it's
Because
it is.
I'm state of Michigan, and I've been there 4 years. And the way the state of Michigan is set up is that after 4 years, you're fully vested. So that means my insurance, my
pension.
my pension. Yeah, whenever I retire, I'll get
Mhm.
full benefits for that.
So what
so-
you do?
I work at. Oh, that's right. You
You
guys came
I
in.
can tell, you act just like my auntie.
I work
Police
where?
officer. You an officer?
No, I'm actually. Didn't I tell you?
Uh-huh.
The kids, people have always thought, and they even when I was here, I was a tutor for football and ran study table. They used to hate me.
She has a hat for you.
Yes, I have hats, I have keychains, but I work at Michigan Job Challenge, and it's connected to Michigan Youth Challenge. I've worked in juvenile detention and juvenile probation a majority of my life, but they have always thought that I was part of the military, and I've never. It's just the way I carry myself and the way I act and how I run things. Yeah,
You put on lots of plate.
pretty much. But the kids know me, and the kids understand me more than adults. So I've had to hear over at this other program that I'm at, it's a little more laid back. Well, you still have to have structure and discipline. So the kids knew me from across the street at the Youth Challenge. So they know how Sergeant Johnson is, and they know I'll say things usually in a joking way for them to get it done. And they know when I'm serious. But some adults are like, she's still doing countdowns and She raises her voice a lot. Yeah, the kids know me. They don't get offended by it unless they're doing something they're not supposed to. So yeah, that's the field I've been in.
And I will share previous classes video with them, so that way you guys can. It is 5 o'clock somewhere, so I know it's which
Not for you.
that's right.
Oh my gosh. Aren't you supposed to be in class? What time does this class end?
Right.
3:45.
But it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
But it's not right here for
'Cause
you.
they had 3-2 beer. You guys don't. I don't think.
Definitely just turned 21.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh wait, when's your 21st birthday?
It was the 19th.
Really?
19th. Okay. Happy belated
Still got 2
birthday.
years before that.
That's what I
2
thought.
years?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought
Oh my
most in
goodness.
this class are either 18
No, I
or
was
19.
class of 2020, but I took a gap year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you need to look at the video from this because we had some people in here that took a break from college. They
Mhm.
started and some life happened.
Yeah, that's
And-
how it was. I did a semester. I didn't end up finishing the semester because it was too much. It was like that's when COVID and everything was going on.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It interrupted a lot of people's lives. So,
Okay.
any more questions?
Any
from you?
questions?
No.
None? Well, I
Did
will,
y'all-
I will leave keychains, for you guys if you want them and a hat or two. And then, if you guys want to ever get in touch with me, I will leave these brochures here.
Yes. Yeah. Please. Thank you.
And it's a free program. That's the other thing. This costs nothing for anybody to go to.
Thank
They
you.
have them in different states.
problem.
Like I said, Hawaii, Georgia,
Once again.
DC. He shook his hand that time.
He wants it on camera on the YouTube
Nice meeting you
live.
It
guys.
was nice meeting y'all.
Anytime Central Intelligence Agency, you can reach out to her, if you're thinking about it. Trust me, we got social work there too.
How far from downtown Washington D.C. are you? Is it
It's like 15 minutes.
like that Catholic University? That's the only one I visited there.
Catholic, so, Catholic's a little uptown.
Is it called Catholic?
Yeah, it's Catholic.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I had to go to a
I think we have
conference.
some social work as well, Homeland Security is dealing with divorce.
Right.
Well, I want a
Yes.
shirt. Me too.
Oh wow.
I want a shirt. I want a shirt. You want to get a shirt?
Because you guys have like a.
How you get a shirt? It was my birthday. It was shorts. I want shorts.
See, you got, it is your birthday.
Yeah, so you want to trade me? I definitely want to
But I don't.
trade me. It was my birthday.
You really do. You really do want this shirt.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see
What size is it?
who it fits. That's what I was
What
going to
size are
say.
those
I feel like that's what.
Small. These are medium.
I do.
Look,
Even
got
on
a
the
little
social
snug.
worker.
Oh, look,
Huh?
like a little snug. It's gonna
Does
show
it
your
work?
muscles. Right.
It's large.
Hey, you are. Welcome
Nice,
back to my
nice,
YouTube
yeah.
channel. Okay, look at them showing the muscles. Like the
Good. Thank you so much again.
Thank
you. You are welcome.
Y'all
Have a nice day.
Just stay the course, ladies.
Thank
So
you.
good to see
Ain't
you.
nothing back here.
What?
Are you gonna get
What?
your-
Right on here.
You guys are. Shh.